When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into this new season, there's one thing that seems pretty clear among the coaches and players alike. The identity is going to revolve heavily around the run game. That old school, blue-collar Steelers mentality of pounding the ball and controlling the clock is still very much alive. You can hear it echoed in conversations from training camp to mini camps, OTA sessions, and even just casual chats with insiders who know what's really happening behind the scenes. It's almost as if the refrain "run first" is baked into the DNA of this team. And that's not without reason. Last year, the Steelers ranked 4th in the NFL in rushing attempts. Over 530 rushing attempts across the season isn't a small number by any stretch, and it shows the commitment to that style of play. However, the effectiveness of those runs left a lot to be desired, averaging just over 4 yards per carry, which placed them near the bottom of the league in terms of efficiency. So, while the volume was there, the results weren't quite what the team hoped for. That's a fair point to keep in mind when discussing whether this will truly be a run-first team again. Because quantity doesn't always translate into quality. What complicates this narrative even more are some of the moves the Steelers have made this offseason. Adding players like METCALF and Aaron Rodgers, along with some new wide receivers, sends a message that perhaps the passing game will have a bigger role than fans might expect. You don't invest in a veteran quarterback known for his arm and a dynamic wide receiver like Metcalf just to stick rigidly to a run-heavy scheme that was often criticized for being predictable and unimaginative. The idea that the offense will just run it down defenses' throats repeatedly, like it felt at times last year, seems less plausible when you consider these roster changes. The Steelers seem to be setting up for a more balanced attack, or at least an offense that can keep defenses guessing by mixing the run with a credible passing threat. There's a subtle but important distinction there. Running the ball to set up the pass or throwing to open up the run is a much different approach than simply being run first in name only. There's also the question of personnel development, which can't be ignored. Caleb Johnson is stepping into a bigger role, and while we all hope he'll be an upgrade over Najee Harris, the truth is there's still a lot we don't know about how he'll perform in the NFL spotlight. He dominated in college and minor leagues, but that transition isn't always seamless. Jaylen Warren's workload is expected to increase, and while the math suggests he could thrive with more touches, he's yet to prove it over an extended period at the professional level. So, hoping for a massive jump in the running game's efficiency means betting on a number of what-ifs. The offensive line deserves special attention here as well. They are the engine behind any successful run game, and the Steelers have put a lot of resources into bolstering that unit. A year under Arthur Smith's wide zone blocking scheme should, in theory, help the line gel and execute better than before. However, familiarity doesn't always equate to instant improvement, and line play is notoriously hard to predict. A strong, cohesive line can turn a modest running back into a star, but an inconsistent line can stall even the most talented RUSHERS. So, even with the desire to run the ball first, the Steelers have to face the reality that they've stacked the roster with receivers capable of making plays all over the field, tight ends who can both block and catch, wide receivers who can stretch the defense vertically and horizontally, and a quarterback like Rodgers who can dissect defenses with his experience and arm talent. These are tools that suggest the offense will use the pass in a significant way. It would be a disservice to pretend otherwise. Fans are understandably skeptical, especially after enduring last season's often repetitive offensive script: handoff, incompletion, punt. The lack of unpredictability made it tough to watch at times, and it's no wonder that many are hesitant to believe that this year will be different. It's hard to shake the memory of the offense grinding through third and long situations with the same predictable plays. Still, I'm leaning toward a vision where early games might lean more heavily on the run to get the offensive rhythm going, giving Caleb Johnson a chance to settle into his role without the full burden of carrying the team makes sense, especially with Jaylen Warren expected to be the primary back for the first time. Adding Kenny Gainwell to the mix only deepens that backfield rotation, which is critical when facing a 17-game schedule plus playoffs. Confidence building is another piece of this puzzle. Offensive linemen, especially young ones, thrive on momentum when their run blocking is clicking. It boosts their morale and sets the tone for the rest of the offense. Coaches know that building that confidence early is crucial, and the Steelers will likely push the run to help the linemen find their groove. But let's not forget the quarterback situation. Aaron Rodgers, coming into a new offense, needs time to get comfortable. The early part of the season could be about him finding his rhythm with a steady diet of running plays mixed in to ease him into the game plan. The schedule sets up nicely for this too, with a home game in Dublin against the Vikings before a bye week, offering a natural break to regroup and adjust. Ultimately, what the Steelers want to see is rhythm, that elusive flow where the run game is a legitimate threat, not just a last resort when passing options break down. They need to be able to run the ball when they want to on their terms, not just when the defense allows it. That's the difference between an offense that's predictable and one that keeps opponents guessing. Looking deeper at the roster, the offensive line deserves special credit for the work put in to improve both sides of the line of scrimmage. Omar Khan's efforts in acquiring talent through the draft and free agency are starting to pay off, with players like Zach Frazier emerging as anchors in the center. Frazier's rookie season exceeded expectations in many ways, showing a level of skill and maturity that's rare for a first-year player. He's not just a plug. He's dynamic in his ability to make blocks that open holes and sustain runs, sometimes creating multiple running lanes on the same play. That kind of performance is gold for a running game, especially when the backs behind him can capitalize. Comparisons to Steelers greats like Monty Dawson and Maris Boonke highlight the high bar Frazier is being held to, but he's showing signs that he could be a long-term fixture in the middle of the line. The Steelers have always valued toughness and intelligence at the center position, and Frazier fits that mold perfectly. Beyond Frazier, the entire line has benefited from a strong coaching staff that brings experience and vision, blending the schemes of Arthur Smith and the broader philosophy of head coach Mike Tomlin. Tomlin's commitment to building a balanced, tough team that can run and pass effectively is evident in the way the roster has been constructed. The draft picks, the free agent signings, and the development of young players all point to a plan that values versatility and resilience. Year 2 is always a crucial time for young players, and the Steelers are no exception. Players like Mason McCormick and Troy Fowenu are expected to take significant steps forward, both physically and mentally. Tomlin is known for pushing second-year players hard, demanding they come back stronger and more conditioned. It's a tough process, but one that often pays dividends in the long run. Fowenu, for example, has made it clear he's treating this year as a true sophomore campaign, focused on improvement and consistency. That mindset is exactly what the Steelers need as they aim to build a competitive, sustainable offense that can handle the rigors of a long season. While there's always room for frustration when progress seems slow, the foundation being laid now is critical for future success. The blend of youth and experience on the line, combined with the evolving offensive scheme, gives reason for cautious optimism. The Steelers have a unique challenge. They must blend the grit and grind of their traditional run-first roots with the modern demands of a more dynamic, multifaceted offense. It's a balancing act, one that requires patience, creativity, and above all, execution. As the season unfolds, watching how the offense adapts and grows will be fascinating. Will the run remain the centerpiece, or will the passing game take a more prominent role as the chemistry develops? The early indicators suggest a little of both, a commitment to establishing the run, but with enough weapons in the aerial attack to keep defenses honest. For fans, that means there's hope for a more exciting, unpredictable offense that still honors the Steelers' legacy. It's about finding that sweet spot where rhythm and balance create a flow that opponents struggle to stop. The road ahead won't be easy, but the pieces are there. What remains to be seen is how well the Steelers can put them together when the lights are brightest and the games matter most. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that sent shockwaves through the NFL community, Seattle Seahawks star wide receiver DK Metcalf has stirred the pot with recent comments about Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker TJ Watt. During an informal off-season interview, Metcalf caught fans and analysts off guard by offering unexpected praise for the reigning defensive menace, prompting speculation and murmurs about what it could all mean. Metcalf, known for his fiery competitiveness and rare public praise of opponents, didn't hold back when speaking of Watt. He's relentless. One of the few guys who changes the game every snap he's in, Metcalf reportedly said. If you love football, you watch a guy like TJ. The remarks have sparked a wave of curiosity and whisperings around the league. Was this just a moment of admiration? Or is there something deeper brewing beneath the surface, with contract negotiations and potential team shakeups always looming in the background during the offseason? Fans are wondering whether Metcalf's comments hint at something more. Perhaps admiration born from conversations, training partnerships, or even mutual interest down the line. Though there's been no formal talk of trades or inter-conference movement, some insiders speculate that the mutual respect could lay groundwork for future collaboration. Could Metcalf be eyeing a future where he's not lining up against Watt, but standing beside him? While it's purely speculative at this stage, the NFL rumor mill rarely sleeps, and moments like this keep it spinning, whether it's just professional respect or the early signs of a surprising off-season storyline. One thing is certain, DK Metcalf's words have added unexpected fuel to the ever-burning fire of league speculation. Only time will tell if this was just a compliment or the first clue to something much bigger. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.